Welcome back. Now, before we take a look at the day's business news, let's first take a look at the stock indices across the GCC. And in our top business story, a total of 108 billion dirhams worth of property changed hands in Dubai during the first half of the year, an increase of nearly a third on the previous year, according to new data published by the Dubai Land Department. According to figures, the exchanges were worth 108 billion dirhams, 30% higher than the total recorded the previous year. These comprised of 30,469 properties, which changed hands in the Emirate during the first 6 months of the year. 60% more individual transactions than the 18,953 recorded a year earlier. The data, which covers both commercial and residential transactions in Dubai, comes as experts continue to warn that home prices in the Emirate are rising so quickly that it could be heading for a new property bubble. The figures also reveal that 22,748 transactions, nearly three-quarters of the total, were paid for in full rather than through a mortgage, a slight decrease on published figures last year, when cash sales represented 77% of the market. The typically lower price of cash purchases, however, meant that they accounted for just under half of the total value of sales during the period at 52.8 billion dirhams. Despite the threat of a mortgage cap being introduced, the Land Department said that the number of properties being bought with mortgages rose during the first half. It said that buyers using mortgages bought 6,050 properties worth a total of 51.3 billion dirhams, roughly double the number of purchases recorded last year and a two-thirds increase in the total value. And prices on Dubai's Palm Jumeirah development may have risen by over 50% in the past year. That's according to reports in a local daily. According to figures, average prices for apartments on the shoreline are now around 1,200 dirhams per square foot, compared with a low of just 795 dirhams per square foot a year ago. The biggest jump is in prices for 2- and 3-bedroom apartments. The average sale price in the iconic development rose by as much as 11% for 3-bed apartments and 5-bed villas during April-June. That's according to an analysis by property website Dubizzle. 1-bed apartments also shot up 8%, while 2-bed apartments rose 5%, and 4-bed villas were up 4%. Average rents, however, remained unchanged for smaller apartments and rose only marginally for 3- and 5-bedroom properties and plummeted 9% for 4-bedders. Emirates SkyCargo has announced that it will transfer operations to Dubai World Central Al Maktoum International Airport from May 2014. Construction of the new state-of-the-art cargo terminal and supporting facilities has started and will include 46 truck docks and 80 truck parking spaces, as well as 12 aircraft stands. The first phase is expected to be completed by the beginning of April next year, with full completion by mid-September, when all of Emirates SkyCargo's freighter fleet of 10, 8 Boeing 777Fs and 2 Boeing 747-400 ERFs will move from Dubai International Airport. Dedicated road feeder services between the two airports will be built to maintain the existing transshipment times between freighters and the airline's passenger fleet, which will remain at Dubai International Airport. The terminal will have an initial capacity of 700,000 tonnes of cargo per year, with room to expand in the future. Etihad Airways is moving to raise its stake in Virgin Australia after getting the green light from regulators to increase its 10% share in Australia's second biggest carrier. According to local reports, it signals the importance of the carrier to Etihad in generating traffic between Australasia and Europe through its Abu Dhabi base. Etihad said in a statement that it has applied for and received Foreign Investment Review Board approval to increase its previous stake of 10% in Virgin Australia to 19.9%. Etihad has steadily built up its stake in Virgin Australia after announcing in June last year that it had paid $35.6 million for a 3.96% share in the airline. The Etihad chief executive and president, James Hogan, was quoted as telling the Australian newspaper this week that the airline had been buying shares on the market in the past fortnight. Etihad has been on a global acquisition spree in the past 2 years by buying up equity in international carriers in an effort to gain market share. In addition to Virgin Australia, it holds a 29% stake in Germany's Air Berlin, a 40% stake in Air Seychelles, and 3% in Ireland's Aer Lingus. It also is expected to announce a deal towards the end of the month to buy a stake in Serbia's Etihad Airways.